Xin chào Vietnam. We are in Google Think Apps event with dear friends Thomas and Saejoon. Saejoon is head of apps and gaming in Korean market, and Thomas is head of scale and insights APAC region. So today we will be providing you some insights, cool stuff, what is happening, what is up, what is hot. How was the show? Did you enjoy it so far?
Very much, very insightful. I learned a lot of new things from the speakers, from engaging with partners. I think it's always valuable to hear directly from across the region. It's very rare that we get a lot of partners into one space. So it was really, really engaging for me.
If you look at APAC, it's a single region, but we have a lot of different countries and cultures. But when you get a chance to mix them up in a single venue, that's where I think we get the secret sauce.
Literally. I would like to actually kick it off in a bigger picture. So we have been hearing a lot, APAC is booming, it's going great, and it's been years. Today, where are we heading in this term? Feel free to take it from general to, because scale and insights are huge topics, so feel free.
A lot of publishers and developers that we see here today are a lot of the bigger ones, but we also look at the ecosystem of the smaller ones, the new developers. And I think that's, especially for the part that I'm looking at, is very important. So how do we get and reach some of the smaller publishers that are just starting out? We have, as we've seen on the stage as well, we have an incredible developer ecosystem, new developers, a lot of new people coming out of university, interested in the space, and we need to keep them engaged. Right? There's other industries that are very lucrative, like crypto, like AI, where developers maybe are tending towards now, but we want to keep them and make sure that they understand this business is still growing, it's still vibrant, and we want to bring the developers in. So for us, it's a lot how do we get to reach them very early?
Yeah.
And then also have them exchange with some of the developers that have been in the space for a while. So I think that's a lot of what I'm focused on with my teams, and working with Saejoon and his group on exchanging what are some of best practices.
Actually, I would be very happy to take on your thoughts on this level too, kind of bigger picture, both from Korea side and also APAC, and maybe afterwards we will go to challenges and opportunities in.
Yeah, so as Thomas mentioned, this APAC region is full of energy, full of passion. We see a lot of new developers coming in, joining the game. If you see from Vietnam perspective, they're so young, right? Drilling into Korea, some things that's catching my eyes was that Korea was super gaming heavy market. Casual gamers, casual gaming developers, looking at the global market, developing puzzle games, match 3 games and so on. But from last year onwards, it was booming from the non-gaming end. For example, finance and fintech companies, they started investing into ad monetization business. It was okay, we are earning money, but we want to go a bit deeper. So it's hey, we want to go deeper because we want to understand our users more, and then we want to maximize our LTV. So LTV, we've heard that a lot, right? So those are kind of the new initiatives that I'm noticing from the market.
Very actually interesting insights, because I feel we will hear fintech and as well as e-commerce more and more, and the answer is simple. They are doing good, but more money is, I think, better than...
Yeah, exactly.
How about the APAC side, covering more, making it inclusive on the challenges and opportunities level? How do you see the markets?
Something that I noticed today, and which is something that's very encouraging to see, is even though we still have vibrant and a growing ecosystem and apps, there is an underinvestment in understanding data and quality and looking at it from a data, introducing data-driven decision-making, being very scientific in a way about how do you approach success of your app and development of your app and the direction that you take. And I think that's something that I noticed heavily now, that I haven't seen in that emphasis in the previous years.
Yeah.
And I think that is really, really good to see, but it's also a recognition that it takes a bit more, going 1 or 2 levels deeper to really differentiate yourself. And bringing a good, in the end, it's about the user experience. And I think data in that is essential. And I think some of the apps that we have seen being successful, they use data very effectively. And I think that's a challenge. How do you do that if you don't have that expertise on the teams, and that maybe you need to consult with a few experts that know that space, like yourself. How do you advise on data quality and on data that turns into quality and healthy user experience?
I think it's also because of the competitive, oversaturated market. It's kind of a skill that we must obtain. If don't, we cannot survive. And how do you see it from this angle in Korean markets, challenges to opportunities? And like you already mentioned, fintech is going well, but apart from that, like with partners, do you hear a lot about how the profitability is either going down or like oversaturated market, or actually it's already super innovative and just differentiating with lots of updates?
So first of all, I do hear a lot about like it's so hard to get access to new users. Your acquisition cost is surging post-COVID, as everyone knows. So I think that's where like the fintech companies came up to the idea we need to earn more money, and that's like being spread across the market. But then as a result, I think the competition is getting more like it's crazy, right? You want to like acquire high quality user, like you have to spend tons of money. But then I think that's where the developers take it that as a market feedback and try to think innovatively. And then like they do come up with like new business models or new like app service or different kind of genres. So I think competition is necessary for the market to grow and innovate at the same time.
One thing I want to add is like I think APAC has been very good at identifying new trends. Like what are some new verticals, new technologies that are potentially recognized and engaged with by users. I think that fintech was one, but there's Gen AI that has been taken up very quickly, especially here in Vietnam, some of our developers. Something that we'll continue to see in the region, probably also in some of the other regions, maybe that's accelerating. I do think that has been, just looking at from knowing the global space a little bit, I think that here that has been one of the cornerstones of the success is just taking the risk to go into some verticals that you might not see in other regions.
So I'm curious about, as a final part, you have seen here and there, and you have definitely lots of insights and scale. So what would be advice for small to mid studios, also even indies, challenging, competitive, oversaturated markets? Just curious about your advice.
My one advice would be don't assume what you've done is all you can do. Continue to think innovatively and challenge your challenges. And by doing so, I've seen a lot of successful cases and like lots of new business coming out from it. And also, don't assume that AI is going to solve all of your problems. You're the one who can solve your problem.
Definitely so true. And especially mentioning AI, like from development to marketing, it's a hot topic everywhere. And I'm actually curious how it will be next year. Maybe we come again to Vietnam and talk about AI. It doesn't have to be AI, but like, you also have been seeing APAC overall with insights and scaling. Advices for studios?
I think especially as you're starting off, or even if you're not just starting off, but integrate data and measurement early on. And I think that what we've heard today and what we're seeing is that the testing, experimenting in order to get the right user experience and seeing which ones work better here and there, and that might be marginal, I think that will be a difference maker, and that will continue to be a difference maker for a long time. I think that investing in that early, getting that right and trying, because you can then try it quickly and iterate, I think that's been a good recipe for success.
Totally agree. And I think like we are in an era that being data-driven has never been this important, because like, back then, hyper-casual era, you were just, I found a hit, like surprise, but now, definitely. Thank you so much for joining us and to Insights. Thanks, Google, for having us in Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City. We'll definitely come next year again and talk about mobile apps and gaming industry. Maybe food too, right?
Possibly.
And some drinks.
Drinks. So, thank you, Google. See you.